Buckle up, everybody. Here we go. The NBA trade deadline is upon us. In 2 hours and 55 minutes, we will be locked for the day in trades, and we will find out where everybody is actually playing. I am Josh Engelman, here to break it all down. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engelman because we are here. We have been waiting for this for a full year. And now the day has finally come. We get to talk about some trades. We've had some slow trickles come in so far. We got Davion Mitchell to Miami for PJ Tucker. We got Jared Butler to the Sixers for Reggie Jackson. Was Jaden Springer last night or this morning? I don't even remember. Either way, but salary changing. That was last night, right? So we're sitting here, we're chilling, and we're waiting for the goods to come in. I'm excited about it. I don't know about you guys. Because there's still a lot left to happen. Does OKC do anything? Does Chicago send more guys out? Does Cleveland do anything? Does Houston do anything of relevance? Are the Lakers done? Are the Warriors done? Do the Grizzlies do anything? What can Milwaukee do with their 2031 unprotected first? Is Utah dumping anybody? What's Detroit going to do with their salary cap? Is Philly done? Do any of the Phoenix guys go anywhere? Do the Spurs make another move? Minnesota. There's a lot out there, folks. We're going to be here for a minute. We're going to be here for a couple minutes. I'm here till 3+. We're going 3 hours here today. Now, I hope something shows up. I hope we get some real, we got to dig into this kind of stuff today. Sam Van Dam hit us with the super chat. My favorite show of the year. Thanks, Josh. It's my favorite show of the year as well. I live for this. I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago. I had to do it with getting a root canal earlier in the day. I feel a lot better today than I did that year. Giuliano says, does Minnesota trade Gobert for the right price? There is a 0% chance that Rudy Gobert is getting traded today. Not even a discussion point. That's not even on the table. I got a Gatorade locked and loaded for me. Just waiting to get drank. Got 20 ounces of coffee waiting for me to get drank. Aquarius says, I don't see Brandon Ingram staying long with the Raptors. I think you should probably get pretty comfortable with him staying with the Raptors. Because I'm going to assume that he already knows what he's going to re-sign for. Otherwise, the Raptors were probably not going to make that trade. Did I already talk about Mark Williams to the Lakers? I guess technically, no. I did start the strategy show with a pretty deep dive into Mark Williams. I guess the easiest way for me to say it would be this. I like the idea of taking a shot on a young center. I don't think the price they paid, which would have been the unprotected 31 first, the 30 pick swap, and connect. I don't think that's like a outlandish price to pay. That all seems normal. I don't like the fit. I'm not sure that I think this was the center to go after if I'm the Lakers. I think they needed to prioritize defense a little bit more than they did. And I think that leaves them open to some trickiness moving forward. But look, Mark Williams is young. I'm certainly nervous about his injury history. But I like the flyer. You might not love the fit for the Lakers, but the Lakers got Williams for the assets that should have been included in the Luka trade. Very true. Very true. But he's not even just like a not good rim protector. He's one of the worst rim protectors in the league. And that's just weird to me. I'm surprised to see it. And that is the biggest part, because if they're not going to get any rim protection out of Mark Williams, it doesn't really matter what the Lakers are doing. They're behind the 8 ball. So I don't mind what they spent to get him. And like, I like the idea of grabbing a young player like that. But I'm not confident in the fit. I've seen a lot of people saying he was good in college, Hornets don't have a system. To me, I don't think that can matter that much when you rank at basically the bottom of rim protection. Like, something has to be off for him personally that makes him be like, you can be below average, and then I would be willing to have that be a conversation point. He's like one of the 5 worst rim protectors in the league. I don't know how that happens. So that scares me a bit. Just a bit. Again, he's 23, but this is a guy that doesn't play. He's been hurt the 2.5 years he's been in the league. He needs to be healthy, or none of it matters. Fit is irrelevant if he plays 50 games a year. So we'll see. I like the roll of the dice. I would have leaned more defense than offense in that spot. Their defense was already not very good. They're probably like a bottom 8 defense in the league, and I don't know how they dig out of that. Was Gafford traded to Golden State? No. So S&P, that's another point that I've seen people bringing up here. You know, you see PJ Washington go from Charlotte to Dallas and become a much better defender. So I think that's sort of twofold. I think you take him from a Charlotte team that doesn't have a good center, and you put him in at the 4 next to Lively or Gafford, and he's playing his correct role, and he's allocated properly, and he's doing less on offense than he had to do before. So like, those sorts of things, like, all of those pieces make sense to me. I like the idea. I bandied it about a little bit earlier. Let's see. Like, if I'm the Lakers, I'm calling up Orlando, and I want to see if they'd be willing to do something like this. John Isaac for Rui. Lakers might not have enough assets to get it done at this point. Salaries become a thing that you need to work out, but can you get some rim protection at the 4 to try and help you out in those situations where, like, LeBron is off? Something like that. Why would Orlando do that? Maybe they don't want to spend, $25 million a year on a guy that plays 16 minutes a night. Get out of those extra 3 years on John Isaac. Rui only has 1 more year after this. I don't know. Why did Golden State trade Wiggins for Jimmy Butler? To make it seem like they're doing something and to slightly improve the team? That would be my guess. I mean, it's an upgrade. It's not a fun upgrade, but it's an upgrade. Yeah, if you don't want it to be Rui, it could be like Maxi Kleba and Christian Wood's contract or something. There's something there. I mean, it's basically one year of an extension. If you assume that he was going to pick up the player option, which he would have, they added 1 more year to it. I really just don't. I don't think any of it matters for Golden State. Sam Van Dam, what do you think about Kerr's comments moving the deadline to the All-Star break? That's when it used to be. It used to be after the All-Star break, and then they had that situation where DeMarcus Cousins got traded during an interview at the All-Star game. I don't really give a shit when it happens. It doesn't really matter. The All-Star break is a meaningless point of the season. By the way, let's not forget in that hypothetical Rui John Isaac trade, John Isaac's older than Rui. So it's not like he's just some young guy. Rui's the younger guy. But we got a lot going on. I am desperate to get some additional news coming in here. Just don't know what it's going to be. We could talk through some of the teams. Jim Pollock. Dalton Connect is not a promising young star. There's no way star is ever in his name. He's Sam Merrill. He's the greatest thing that Dalton Connect can become is like maybe Duncan Robinson. He is a completely meaningless NBA player. Useless. Just a total nothing. Giant nothing burger. Yeah, Dalton Connect being in that, he's just, they're better off getting off of him. His value will never be higher than it is in this particular moment. Here in a simulation says Connect way more athletic than Duncan Robinson. Sorry, I was just naming random white people. What do I think OKC is going to do? What I think they're going to do and what they should do are probably going to be two different things. But if I'm them, I'm bringing in two more rotation pieces. And I'm probably trying to bring in like Cam Johnson and Kobe White or something in that neighborhood. I'm letting it rip. I'm shipping out 4 or 5 draft picks, back end of the rotation salaries. I'm doing everything I can for OKC. Flags fly forever. Go get that banner. I think it's easy. Let's look through a couple teams, see where we stand here while we're just waiting on news. So Atlanta is about 1.3 million under the tax. They're probably not going to do anything. If they do, they're not going to take back any money. Obviously, someone like Clint Capella is certainly on the block today. As you look at it, like if they trade Capella, they're not taking back more than 23 million. So I wouldn't expect Atlanta to do much. Do I think the Sixers do anything? Think PG-13 gets dealt? Probably not. Doesn't seem it. All right, let's look at... So Boston's not doing anything. They already made their one big move, which was just simply moving on from Jaden Springer and, bringing their tax bill down. They're $3.6 million over the second apron. Did that get fixed from... Look. They're just dealing with the dance of the second apron, but Boston's not really in anything. Brooklyn, obviously, is a team that certainly matters. They're not going to be paying the tax. So in terms of salary coming back in, it's not going to be more than what they have right now. You've got Cam Johnson there at $22.5 million, just ripe to be traded. I don't know how healthy Bojan Bogdanovic is. He might just become a buyout guy. But if he's got anything left in the tank, maybe somebody has some salary they want to get off there. I mean, anything. Brooklyn is live to trade anybody on their roster, but they're not going to go into the tax to do so. And they're right up against it right now. Charlotte. I mean, they've got LaMelo. I don't really see anything being done now that they did the Mark Williams deal. I think the Nets are asking a lot for Cam Johnson. I hope they are. I hope they are. You think the Suns are pissed they didn't get Williams and ended up with Richards? No. I mean, yeah, but no. I think the Bulls are really interesting. They've got some room under the tax, so we don't have to worry about anything there. They just re-upped Lonzo on the 2-year extension. Oh, S&P, I didn't. I think that's a good deal. I think the Lonzo extension's a good deal. But Vooch is on $21.5 million next year. He is very live to get shipped out of Chicago today. Kobe White has $12.9 left for next year. I think he is very live to get moved today. I wouldn't be surprised if they moved to Sunwoo, but I think Kobe White would be more likely. And then, Kevin Huerter. I'm guessing that nobody else is moving. Like Huerter could go, but I think they'd keep him. He has $18 million for next year. But Chicago's going to do something. If I'm Cleveland, my guess is that they don't do anything. They're currently $1.9 million over the tax. I think the only thing that they would... I wouldn't be surprised if they trade Karis LeVert, because I don't think he's going to be back next year. Because I can see them trying to get out of the tax for their moving forward years, because they're going to be pretty much in the tax no matter what as we go forward. They do have to re-up Ty Jerome in the offseason, probably. But if they can get off LeVert and not bring back that full amount, they would have to bring back like 14 and change. That could get them under the tax. But this is a Cleveland team that has real aspirations. They might not be looking to lose anything from their rotation. But I'm assuming they're going to try to duck the tax if they can figure out a way to do it. They don't have a lot of natural contracts to do. Like, I don't think they want to get rid of Jalen Tyson or Sam Merrill. So it would probably be LeVert. Thanks, Prince. I missed that. I'm glad you're here. Not. Dallas is probably done, although still over the tax. It could be very interesting. They don't have a ton of assets left, but I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to pay their way off of Dwight Powell to get out of the tax for the rest of this season. With $3.2 million over, they could probably do a little bit of a dance with 10 days and leaving a roster spot open. Dwight Powell is very useless. Or they go the direction that makes the most sense to me, and one of Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively gets traded. If I'm the Mavs, I'm trading Derek Lively today and getting a bundle for it. Multiple firsts, a real player. That would be what I would be doing if I were Dallas. I would be trying everything I could to trade Derek Lively, because someone's going to want him and you're going to get a lot for him. And that might be the only way that you could make this team look better moving forward. They're good. Not as good as they were 3 days ago. Nuggets aren't doing anything unless it's a massive deal we don't see coming. They're, $11 million over the tax. There's no way for them to dodge it. I'm sure they'd love to get off of the Zeke Naji contract. I don't think that's all that feasible. So my guess is Denver doesn't do anything. Detroit. So Detroit is the only team that has some cap room left. They're going to be staggering the way that the transactions they've hit so far come in, whether that's Lindy Waters or Josh Richardson. But they're still probably going to be a landing destination for some teams trying to get off of some of this cap space. Like, perfect example. I have no idea what it would take to get off of Dwight Powell. But if Dallas could get Dwight Powell to Detroit without having to take back any salary, they would try to do that to get out of the tax this year. So it's that kind of move. That's why the cap space for Detroit is incredibly important. That's going to allow somebody to get out of the tax. I'm going to assume Golden State is basically done at this point. They're in the tax, to my knowledge. We've got the Jimmy Butler deal coming in. I don't really think they have anything left to do. Houston's interesting. They've got $6.5 million under the tax. They clearly have assets on assets on assets. What they want to do and how they want to move their team forward will be very interesting. It seems to me that Houston isn't going to do anything. But they've got the salaries they can move. They've got the picks they can move. Houston can do whatever they want. Do they? We'll see. Now, the Pacers. I would be shocked if Indiana does anything. If they do something, though, they will not be paying the tax. They are $147,000 under the luxury tax right now, and they will not do a single thing that puts more money on their books and puts them into the tax. So, could one of Neesmith, Mathurin, or Nemhard be on the way out the door? Maybe. But whoever comes back in is not making that much salary. And they're going to have to pay Miles Turner next year, and it is going to be a hell of an increase off of $19.9 million. He's going to be getting 30 plus next year. So the Pacers have moves to make. They're probably more likely to make them during the summer. The Clippers, they actually have $4 million under the tax. They've got a boatload of salaries they can move around. I really don't see any like the Clippers are just the Clippers. They're going to get some like 6'7" guy that guards ones but is a 5, and none of it's going to make any sense. Lakers, I would imagine, are done. They don't have much left that they can move around. Picks-wise, they're basically out of assets. Rui can go. Gabe Vincent can go. Maxey, if it's a 1-for-1, can go. I'm sure they'd be willing to trade Vanderbilt, but he's got 3 more years left, so I doubt that's happening. My assumption is the Lakers are just shit out of luck for the rest of the year, but they got Luka Doncic, so I think they're okay. Memphis, so they've got $1.8 million under the tax. I'd be surprised if they go into the tax this year, unless they're doing it to just get a true upgrade. But, Morant, Bane, Triple J aren't going anywhere. Maybe they try to get off of Marcus Smart. Maybe they try to get off of Brandon Clark, Luke Kennard. Like, they've got options they can move around. It's Memphis. They're one of the most close to the vest teams that exist in the league. Miami, I have to assume, is pretty much done. They got their new 2-headed monster in the front court. Butler's gone. Wiggins is coming in. Probably not a ton left on the Miami side. They are in the tax, but they got out of the tax with the Wiggins trade. As long as they can find a home for Kyle Anderson, Miami won't be paying the tax this year, which I think was their goal for all of this. Milwaukee, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. They did the Kuzma move. They still have they've got a swap. They've got some swaps they could trade. But, I mean, this team is Dame, Giannis, Kuzma, Brook Lopez. If they can get off of Bobby Portis, I'm sure they want to. But who knows? Minnesota is miles over the tax. I'm sure they would love to bring that tax bill down. I would like to be moving Julius Randle, but we have not heard any murmurings of that at all. These guys are just sort of locked into their salary. Do I think someone's going to leave this team in the offseason? Yes. Do I think it's now? No. Pels are out of the tax. They moved on from Ingram. I assume they're going to be holding true. If I'm them, I'm trying to offload CJ McCollum to anybody that would take him. Probably unlikely. Knicks are well into the tax. They don't exactly have a boatload of assets. We know they're not moving any of their main guys. I would be very surprised if we see the Knicks do anything relevant. OKC has plenty of room under the tax. Every asset on the planet is in their stead. They've got 10 reasonable contracts to sign, all of it. Everything here is on the table for OKC. Orlando's got $20 million under the tax. They could do whatever they want. They've got their own picks, along with additional picks in the future. They've got salaries that they can move very easily, whether that's Cole Anthony. You can see what you can get for John Isaac. Mo Wagner they have a team option for next year. In theory, he can move around. They got all the salary in the world. Gary Harris, in particular, could be another additional salary piece. So it would be nice to see Orlando do something. Not sure they will. They're They're not normally that kind of team. Obviously, Philly has been involved in all sorts of nonsense over the past few days. They got themselves out of the tax, which I think was their really only move. I think they probably would have played this deadline a lot differently if they were any good this year, but since they weren't, they didn't have to try to attach assets to KJ Martin because it didn't matter. So my guess is Philly's done, but it's Daryl Morey. I would not be surprised for him to do anything. Phoenix has no assets. Unless Bradley Beal wants to get traded, that's not happening. Doesn't seem like Durant's going anywhere, so I'm guessing Phoenix is just dead. Portland should make moves. They've got a little room under the tax. I'd be calling anybody I could to see if they would take Jeremy Grant. I'd be trying to get rid of one of the guards if I could. I'd be trying to get rid of one of the centers if I could. But the fact that they're playing so well lately, I don't know if Portland's going to make any moves, but they should. If people will take some of those contracts, they should get off of them. But I doubt they will. Sacramento's probably done. They did the Levine deal. They picked up some firsts. I think they're the same team they were before. I would be doing everything in my power to get off of DeMar DeRozan. I didn't know why they got him in the first place. It makes even less sense now. Doesn't strike me as a team that's going to be doing a bunch. I think they like what they did. I mean, I would love to see San Antonio do something. They've got $1 billion in tax room. Nothing to worry about there. $1 billion assets if they want to use them. But Spurs can afford to be patient. They don't have to make moves, but they can if they want to. Raptors have room under the tax. They now have Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, Scotty Barnes. Grady Dick is still there as well. Jacoby Walter is still there. I don't think they're doing anything. I think the biggest thing that they're going to do in the near future is re-sign Brandon Ingram. That's about it. Austin Semmelman wants the Bucks to be awful by trading Brook Lopez for John Collins. I don't know why the Bucks would want to punt on any chance whatsoever, but that would be how you do it. Utah is either going to take on bad salaries because they've got $15 million up to the tax, or they're going to try to acquire more assets for Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, whatever. They're not in asset acquisition mode in any way. Washington obviously picked up Chris Middleton. I think we're live to see Middleton get redistributed before this is over. Brogdon could obviously go somewhere. I mean, it's the Wizards. We know. Milwaukee and Indy are talking Nesmith and Obi Toppin for Portis and Connaughton. There's no way that conversation is happening. What would be how much would they save? Because that's a dreadful deal. Truly dreadful. All right, let's see. So that would be Toppin. Yikes. And Nesmith for Portis and Connaughton. Yeah, there's 0% chance that's a real deal. There's no way the Bucks are taking on an extra 1.9 million there. And that would put the Pacers into the second apron, which they're not going to do. Not happening. 0% chance. Lakers need Steven Adams. Well, if they've got a time machine and they could bring Steven Adams back from 5 years ago, that'd be a good idea. Come on, guys. We're going to learn some things today. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think the Pacers or the Bucks would love to have Aaron Nesmith. It's going to take a lot more than Pat Connaughton and Bobby Portis to get it done. Hard to say, Kenny. Kenny asked about CP3. It's really just a Chris Paul thing. If Chris Paul wants to stay on the Spurs, they're going to keep him. If Chris Paul says, hey, I'd like to go play in the playoffs, then they'll either try to trade him or buy him out. No, Rosen. I don't think KD's going anywhere. He should. They should unequivocally be trading him, but I don't think they will. John Williams wants to know what my dream scenario is for OKC. Assuming we're not using dreams in the same way that the Lakers use dreams to get Luka Doncic, my dream scenario for the Thunder would be Kobe White and Cam Johnson. The East needs to get it together. The West is dominating. Well, the East won the NBA title last year, and the odds-on favorites to win the NBA title this year also come from the East. Zane, could the Lakers move anything to get Bruce Brown before he gets bought out? They can't sign him if he hits the buyout market. Probably not. Take a look. Assuming he's on the Pels. Yeah, 23 million. Nah, there's no real way for the Lakers to get that done. It would have to be like Rui and something else. Lakers needed Capella. Okay, so like for this year, I would like Capella more than I would like Mark Williams. Blake. No, the Celtics made their move by getting off of Springer and bringing down their tax bill. LeVert, Tyson, and a second to Atlanta for Hunter. Yeah, that seems about right. I don't know why Atlanta would do it. Jazz Lifer here. If we end up keeping Schroeder, you think we could dump Sexton and whoever else to get a good asset? Yeah. I think you can get like a crappy first. Why would the Miles Turner trade? What would the Miles Turner trade look like for Indy that would still keep them competitive in the East? I mean, they'd have to get a center back. Like, could you flip him to Dallas for Derek Lively? I like the Turner AD fit a lot more alongside, a shooting big. Josh, can the Warriors trade for Miles Turner? Yeah, they won't, but they could. Well, I hear my wife yelling at the dog, so I'm going to assume the puppy pissed in the house. That's never good. Do I think the Clippers are going to do anything? Probably not. They're a weird team, though. Like, the moves that they could make are always just like guys you don't expect. I want to take a look at the potential. What would a Dallas Indy trade look like with Lively going to Indy and Miles Turner coming back to Dallas? Because that's a better fit. 14 more million needs to go to Dallas. Can't imagine they want to take on Obi Toppin right now. And they're not going to have enough picks to make this interesting. Huh. Feels like Jarris Walker goes in that deal. No, I'm going the wrong direction. I need salary over here. Okay, so you swap the centers. Doesn't seem like they want to get rid of Max Christie. Caleb Martin would fit there pretty well. Get Dwight Powell into that deal. We could do the 2031 unprotected first. Yeah, we would need to cut 10 more million from that deal. Might be tough. Got to send 10 more million out. Have to be probably Caleb Martin. I don't think they want to trade Najee, and it seems like they like Max Christie. That's a tricky deal. I like it, though. I like it. Let me turn my ceiling fan on. It's getting hot in here. All right. Yeah, fake trade scenarios are everywhere. We need to remember the most important thing about all of these trade deals are the financials, not the players. The key piece of all of this is understanding which teams are in the tax, which teams don't pay the tax, which teams won't pay the tax, which teams are willing to pay the tax, which teams are over the first apron, the second apron. Those mechanics are what makes these deals be a thing. But the tax is everything. Like the Indiana Pacers that we were just talking about, they don't ever pay the tax, ever. And they should not be expected to pay the tax until you see it for the first time. And I don't know if they would ever do it, even if they were good. So when you see things like stuff for the Pacers, you can never believe it if it means they're taking on money. Yeah, look, people are shitting on Kuzma too much. Kyle Kuzma is a guy that's going to look a lot better when playing around better guys. When Kyle Kuzma is the fourth best guy on a team, but he has to play like he's the best guy on a team, that's going to go bad. When he's the fourth best guy in a rotation and he gets to play like the fourth best guy in the rotation, I think he brings a lot to the table that fits with some of these teams. I expect him to be a lot better than he was in Washington, and he's obviously going to be way more available than Chris Middleton. Like the problem for the Bucks wasn't the problem for the Bucks was that they didn't have enough assets to go get anything better than that using Chris Middleton's deal. Yeah, I mean Boswell, that's there. If I'm Memphis, I don't know if I do it. We can talk here's what we'll do. Let's do a little example game here. Cuz I built this out before. Let's see what this would look like if we moved KD to the Grizzlies. So if I make this the Grizzlies and we project their rotation. So we'll say 32 minutes to Triple J, 32 to Morant, 32 to Bane. Let's get 20 to Aldama, 20 to Kennard, 14 to Pippen. We'll go 20 to Edie. We'll go 24 to Wells. 12 Laravia. I'm just trying to be generic here based on that deal that you just showed me. Let's get 20 to Vince Williams. Get like 8 to Huff, 8 to Conchar. We'll just say. It's a 114.5 offensive rating, a 111.7 defensive rating. Now, let's say I copy this over, but I take out Brandon Clark, Marcus Smart. I'll take out Kawamura and Spencer and G.G. Jackson for this particular example. You said Smart, Clark, Kennard. Oh, you took Kennard out of there. All right, let me take Kennard out. We'll bump Pippen's minutes a bit. We'll bump Conchar up a bit. Most of this doesn't matter. This is an example for example's sake. Give 6 to Cam Spencer. Okay, so now we have this rotation. I'll leave all those minutes there. And now I'll add Kevin Durant. So let's go. I'll go 32 minutes to Durant just to be pessimistic. We'll keep the 20 on Aldama. We'll come down to 14 on Pippen. Huff probably leaves the rotation. Leave 12 on Conchar since he's a guard. 12 on Laravia. 22 on Vince Williams. 20 on Edie. 24 on Wells. Now I'm 12 high. So I'll just take Conchar out. So that trade that you just talked through, Boswalt. Smart, Clark, Kennard, GG, swaps, whatever. That would take Memphis from a 113.8 offensive rating to a 116.6. Defense basically stays the same. They would gain like 2.5 points of net rating. That's really good. That's a massive upgrade. Now, there's no way the Grizzlies are doing this, but I like it on paper. That's the type of improvement you're looking for if you do this kind of deal. Because it is a dramatic offensive change. Yeah, Boswell, that's another great point. If you're talking about a playoff series, then you're going 36, 36, 36, 36. And now the offensive rating ends up being, you know, staggeringly different. You get something like that. Now you're up to another extra plus minus point. 117.4 on offense, no change to defense. Look, do I like it? Yeah. Are the Grizzlies going to do it? No, they're not. I mean, I would love to see Houston fire their bullets at like Devin Booker. You know, you get Phoenix and you get Houston. You got to get to 49 million in salary. You swap out Fred VanVleet for Book. Maybe you add Reed Shepherd and a couple picks. Something like that. Break it into 2 deals. If I'm Houston, that's the type of move I'm trying to make. If I'm Phoenix, I'm trading everything. Yeah, Boswell, they're not the type of team that's going to do that because they value their cost certainty more. Like if Memphis is going to go into the tax, they need to plan for it and they have to know what their exit path is going to be. Because the problem for Memphis isn't necessarily right now. And it's probably not even a problem for next year. It's the out years. It's what do you do with Durant after that? You've already got Morant next year, Bane, Jackson, all locked in. Now you're getting off of the Smart money and the Clark money and the, Kennard's going to be a free agent, but this team gets expensive. Like what they really are worried about, because Memphis has a really big decision point coming and it's right here. So Jaren Jackson Jr. makes $25 million this year and he makes $23.4 next year. The problem is Jaren Jackson Jr. cannot extend with the Grizzlies, or at least won't extend with the Grizzlies. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to become an unrestricted free agent in 26-27. And, obviously the Grizzlies are going to pay him whatever he's looking for. And I don't expect him to go. But that is an actual decision point that is going to matter for them in the future because they have no mechanism to bring him back on his current number. Jason Robinson. Tice puts the Thunder at a max roster spot. I assume they want to sign AJ Mitchell before the season's done. Do you agree they make a move to free that roster spot? Yes. Yeah. Either Tice is going to get rerouted or someone's getting traded into that Pistons cap space or something because the Thunder are going to convert AJ Mitchell from a 2-way to a standard contract before this season's over. S&P, welcome to my world. Sean Lewis says Bucks are going to get Bogdan or Smart. Probably not. What if Reed Shepherd is the best player from the draft? I'd like to see it. Look, I was a big Reed Shepherd believer before we got to the draft. I didn't expect him to not just shoot really well. It all comes back to me knowing like small guards take a long time to get it to work in the NBA. So I try to be as optimistic about guards as I can. Can Memphis get Cam Johnson for Smart, Laravia, and Conchar? Yeah. I mean, it's going to take like 5 first-round picks at that point, but yes. Who's my dark horse champ this season? Okay, I'll bite. Let's look at Polymarket. Okay, so obviously, when you say dark horse, you're implying that I can't choose Boston and I can't choose OKC. Denver? Probably Denver or Memphis. So, Boswald, I 100% agree with what you're saying. The problem is some of these teams are just not going to play it like that. When we're playing a video game, and I'm not saying this to you in like a negative way, but like when we're playing a video game, we make any one of these moves. Memphis might just be happy cashing checks and paying like $2 million worth of luxury tax, and they just won't want to do it. Yeah, I would say Nuggets and Grizzlies would probably be my two dark horse options. Nuggets, obviously, because Nikola Jokic is Nikola Jokic. And then the Grizzlies, do they make a deal in the next 2 hours? Maybe. But, Job, Bane, Triple J are just like the right couple injuries away in the playoffs from making the same run Dallas did. I think all of these teams are going to have a very difficult time beating Boston or OKC in a 7-game series. Especially if OKC does anything today. These teams are so far and away better than everybody else. It's crazy. Einsteinium, why would I pick Indy as a dark horse? The Indiana Pacers are a meaningless basketball team. It doesn't matter who's on the team. It doesn't matter how good they are. They are essentially locked out of ever having any chance of winning anything. Yeah, Rockets dark horse works for me as well. The Indiana Pacers can never be anything in the league if they don't pay the tax. It's impossible to win in the NBA if you don't pay the tax. There's another good one. Oh, what are my thoughts on Toronto? I don't have a fucking clue what these guys are doing. Like, if you look at their starting five, you're like, holy shit, those guys are all, like, good. But, like, they never are good together with anybody else. It's really weird. They're a really weird team. Okay, so if I gut this, let's see what they look like. So let's get Olynyk out of there, Davion Mitchell out of there, Bruce Brown out of there. Let's add Brandon Ingram. So we're talking 32, 34, 32, 33, 33. Rest of the bench won't matter. 20, 20, 16, 14, 6. We're just eyeballing it quick. Even just giving them these ratings, these are the dunks and threes plus minus numbers. They're a negative team. 112.2 on offense, 113.9 on defense. Like, they're not good. But that makes no sense to me when you read off their starters. But the problem for all of this, really, which I know is going to sound crazy, but like, Scotty Barnes is years away from being whatever you think his peak is. Emmanuel Quickley is just like an average basketball player. Brandon Ingram is an average basketball player. RJ Barrett is arguably a below average basketball player. So I don't know what the Raptors are doing, but they're a haven of mediocrity. Guy will gamble. Sure. It was mostly just me pointing out salary. Could we see the Pelicans trading Zion? Yeah, but I doubt it. Zane Pinkleton says, is Jalen Williams a good defender? Just wondering who's guarding LeBron in a playoff series. I know they have good defense around the rim, and Lou Dort will probably guard Luka. Yes, Jalen Williams is one of the best defensive players in basketball on the perimeter. Look, worrying about a LeBron matchup nowadays is not really much of a thing anymore. Don't worry, Einsteinium. You are going to see it in the playoffs because you're going to watch a bunch of these teams score 65 real points when they can't score a single basket against the Thunder. Look, if Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein are healthy when we get to the playoffs, other teams are fucked for scoring. These guys are shutting the water off at the house. They got no shot. When they play like the Kings or some bullshit in the 1-8, oh my God, they're going to beat the brakes off of them. AD and Lively are a better defensive front court. They certainly don't fit together offensively. That is for sure. Did the Heat get the best they could for Jimmy 6 seed? Yeah, probably. Well, they got the best they could because they were kind of painted into a corner, too. We don't have to see a game. Anthony Davis and Derek Lively have competing skill sets offensively. Neither one of them can stretch the floor. We could say whatever we want about how that's going to look. There's no justification for thinking that they work offensively. None whatsoever. It's just not a thing. Benjamin, try not to look at it like that. Think about it like a 1-year, $60 million extension. He had a player option for next year already. Look, I don't love it. It's not really going to matter to them. Like, they didn't really give up anything that affects them. They weren't really going to be, like, it's not like they could have been a player in cap space. So, fuck it. Bring them in. Trade them if you need to. Ooh. The Sixers are sending an extra second-round pick to Dallas in the Caleb Martin deal. Because apparently Caleb Martin is a little bit more hurt than they led on to believe. Tango Hotel. Been trying to figure out the Randall trade for the Wolves. Do we want to go down that road right now? Can we try to save Minnesota some money and keep them good? Let's think it through. How can we trade Julius Randle from the Minnesota Timberwolves with their incredibly limited assets, but not make the team worse? Let's figure out how we can do this. Who would be a team? I mean, like, Brooklyn for Cam Johnson is there. Could you do... Does that work? Oh, no, we're miles over. All right, $33 million. Let's look at contracts. All right. Let's look at the cap hits for every player. And then let's find Julius Randle. $33 million. You know what? I mean, they're not going to do it, but it would be interesting to swap them for quickly. I mean, do you just swap them for, like, Jeremy Grant? Poole, Murray, Vassell's not happening. Although, would be interesting. Claxton, no. Miles Bridges. I don't know why they would do it. You can't swap them for John Collins. I wonder how much Miami cares about Andrew Wiggins. Josh, as of now, which team or teams do you think gained the most during the trade deadline? Well, the Lakers got Luka. I'd go to that one. Archithelza. They can't do Sharp and Grant. John Collins is a little interesting. I mean, do you do it for like just Tobias Harris? I know that sounds ridiculous. How about this one? Now, I don't know why this team would want to do it, but do you do Randall for Bruce Brown and there's shit out of luck there. Man, I don't know how they're going to get off of Randall. I really don't. To the Jazz for John Collins makes some sense. Would you do this if you were Minnesota? Because let's be clear here. If they did this, they would save massive money. Massive money. $25 million in tax payments? If they shaved $6.5 million, yeah, they'd save 25 million in cap room or in tax payments. Look, that would kill them probably, but that has to at least be like a conversation piece. Man, I'd be intrigued by that. Randall does what in Utah? Utah is literally littered with bigs. Yeah, I don't think Utah cares who's on their roster. Because you have to assume that you could flip Julius Randle again in the future. You know, like obviously the Timberwolves are going to have to attach something to that. Maybe that's like Terrence Shannon or something. It would have to be a separate deal, but still. Something like that would save Minnesota a fuck ton of money and not really impact their on-the-court play. All right, I need a new Zin. What else you guys want me to look at? 1 o'clock. We got 2 more hours to go. We're going to be here for a while. We're not in any other rush. What are some storylines and potential team shit we could do? Freddie Diggins says, I see a world where Luka to the Lakers helps both teams. There's no way that it helps Dallas, but it doesn't make Dallas bad either. Cam Johnson, where's he going? I hope Oklahoma City. Benny, I'm working on it. What about Gobert to the Lakers? I mean, that's just clearly not even a possibility. Good landing spots for Trey Jones. Okay, that's a decent question. Let's think that through. Who's a team that needs a good, point guard-ish option? Clippers? Nah. Got like a 28-minute a game point guard that could need some. I mean, honestly, it'd be a pretty nice pickup for the Hornets, but that's probably not relevant. Orlando could probably use him. Hawks could probably use him. The Heat, but I don't think they're doing that. I don't know. He's just like nobody cares. Like he's just a backup. Marvin, what do you make of Davion Mitchell to Miami? Absolutely nothing. Forgot it happened. Completely meaningless financial trade. So, Steven, they might just wait till the summer, which they can do. Smitch, I don't think Jeremy Grant's going anywhere. I don't know why Orlando would be trying to get a center. It's like the one thing they don't need. Vooch options? I mean, it depends what people see him as. It's hard for me to look at Vooch options because I'm so anti-Vooch that it's hard for me to see them. Cam Johnson would very much surprise me if he went to the Kings. I'm going to assume that any team that wants Cam Johnson can beat whatever Kings deal shows up. I don't think Durant is going to get traded. Where will Middleton go if he gets rerouted? That's a good question. Who could be in the market for something like that? Who's got a contract that can go? Man, I don't know. I don't know. Nobody immediately like stands out to me when I look at the Cavs. $31.6. Fuck, that's a big deal. $4.8 million out the door. Yeah, that one probably gets a little too difficult. I kind of like the idea of Middleton to the Cavs, but I don't think they could pull that off cleanly. $30 million's a big number there on old Chris. Maybe a backup big to get rid of Tristan Thompson. They don't need that. Cleveland's only path to a title is if Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are both playing all 48 minutes at the 5. If they're worried about their backup center, their season's over. Hunter to the Bucks is not happening. Will the Knicks move Mitchell Robinson for anything? I don't think he has any value. Nothing about potential buyouts? I mean, it sort of all depends on how all the deck chairs get shuffled. But apparently, Isaac for Rui is dumb. It makes more sense as Isaac and Kleba in a second. Okay. Sure. Wasn't married to it. Where do we think Nurkic lands? Somewhere as a buyout, I would guess. Richie, you don't want Middleton? It's not going to cost anything. Middleton's been good this year. We just, he probably can't play 32 minutes a night every night. There's no world Sixers throw in the towel and hope they land in the top 6. I mean, I think that's their goal. Look, the East is so bad at the bottom that the Sixers are going to be fine with backing into the playoffs if they have Paul George, Maxey, and Embiid. And no one will want to play them if they're the 8 seed or the 7 seed. But if it's not going well, they also just want to lose and keep their pick. Kornet is not a starter for the Lakers. That's not a thing. Does Golden State think about moving Green? No. They just traded for Jimmy Butler. Gonna go ahead and assume that they're not moving Draymond for that. Best move the Knicks could make to be a contender. They don't have one. I mean, they're already a contender, but they don't have any move they can make that makes them better. Bulls should trade Nurkic. Well, he's not on the team. Raps low-key have one of the best starting 5 on paper. They don't. They don't even have an average starting 5 on paper. Why hasn't Memphis done anything yet? They're just not the type of team that does. And they're definitely the type of team that doesn't talk about it. Rinpack wants to know why Time Lord hasn't been traded yet. I don't know I don't think the Portland Trailblazers know what they want to do. What trade would I like to see happen? That's an interesting one because there's probably a good dude that isn't talked about that I think would be fun if he got traded. Let me think about it. I mean, I would love to see the Suns blow it up. I would love to see a pop-up from Shams here where Devin Booker got traded for like 4 dudes and 12 picks. Sign me up for something like that. Good God. Devin Booker to the Knicks for Bridges. Yeah, probably not going to happen. Can we look at a Kobe White to Minnesota scenario? They don't have enough. They would have to include Dillingham. That would be the only way. There's 0% chance Booker can get to Dallas. Kyle, I talked about the Pacers earlier today. There is no mechanism for the Pacers to do anything at all. Steven, no, they want Giddey. They want Giddey. If Quickly, Barnes, Barrett, Ingram, Pirtle is an average, then what is? I don't know, a team better than that? Yeah, I mean, Middleton to Orlando is possible. You know, you could aggregate Gary Harris and Cole Anthony or something and do that if you needed to. Arcathels, I hope it doesn't end with nothing happening. Durant to OKC would absolutely break the internet. God, that would be fun, though. That would be so much fun. Sign me up for that all day, every day. I mean, I don't think that OKC should do it, but I'd be pumped about it. Arthur Thomas, Miles Turner staying put. Seems like it. But they're going to be a really interesting team in the offseason because they're going to have to make some sort of moves to get out of the tax because they have to. They got to give Miles Turner a new deal. Banquety, we have an hour and 45 minutes left. Deadline is at 3 p.m. Lakers should get Durant, trade LeBron. Good luck with that. Hunter and Capella to Golden State for Trace Jackson Davis and Healed. I don't know. Sure. Mel, I'm pretty sure you know that's not true. Is anybody still tripping over the fact that Timberwolves made a worse trade than the Mavs did? No, because they didn't. Lakers need Jones Jr. God, is there really that little happening that we're having fake Derek Jones Jr. conversations? Whew. One of those deadlines? Starting to feel like nothing's going to happen, man. Damn. Look, I agree that the Rockets should make a deal. I just don't know what that deal is. Do I think Luka and LeBron work well, both ball dominant? Yes, I think they will work perfectly well together. Is there a world where the Suns and Sixers do Durant for George and picks? I mean, I'd at least talk about it. Would the Rockets move Tari Eason or Cam Whitmore? Value is high right now. Yeah, I mean, I think the Rockets would move anybody except for Amin Thompson. Brian, there is absolutely no chance Portland is a buyer at the deadline. Unless they're buying like a 24-year-old dude for the future. That's just not happening. Yeah, my bad, guys, for not doing this show in the middle of the night Saturday for that Luka trade. That's poor form on my part. I apologize for that. That was a big mistake on my end. Well, you live and you learn. You know, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Josh, have you hit any classics this year? I don't even know what you mean. Classic what? Classic lineups. No, I guess. Any legitimacy to a rumor of KD to Dallas? No. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I might have to just go live next year, like a week before it starts, and then just never turn the camera off. There is no path to the Mavs getting KD. Because whatever the Mavs can give them, someone's giving them more than that. Unless the Mavs are just making trades without calling other teams again. Which, unfortunately, is a thing that's happened in the past 7 days. So, if nothing changes for Phoenix, do you see them as a Western Conference final contender? I don't even know if they're a fucking playoff team. No, they're not a contender. I'm not even confident they make the final 8. What's the middle column in my tweet deck? Oh, the wire cutter deals. KD to the Bucks, impossible. What else we got? Yeah, Richie, man, I don't want to miss out on any time that I can get a new loofah for $1 cheaper than normal. Rockets will either get Zion, Booker, KD, or Trae Young. Yeah, they're going to get none of those guys. Anton Smith, what are your 3 best destinations for Time Lord, Grant, and Simons? Okay, I'll bite. Time Lord, I don't care. He's just a backup. There's no way to really trust that. So any team that needs a 18-minute a game center is fine. I mean, there's no market for Grant. Any team that needs like wing help and has a shit ton of salary. For Simons, like it's probably the natural answer. Like the Magic always make the most sense. It doesn't seem like they're a team that actually wants to do that. I mean, I think the Pistons make some sense for Simons. HMU. I would be, yes, the Bucks are under the second apron. I would be a little softer on the have assets to work with because they don't have assets to work with. How have we gotten nothing in an hour and 20 minutes? Ooh, here we go. We got one. The Phoenix Suns are trading Yusuf Nurkic and a 2026 first-round pick to the Charlotte Hornets for Cody Martin, Vasily Micic, and a 2026 second-round pick. Boy, oh boy, was that what we were waiting for. Man, did we get lucky. What a great day this has turned out to be. It's everything we've been waiting for. Nurkic, welcome to Charlotte. Yeah. Well, hey, good news. We don't have to do the Vasily Micic bullshit anymore when the Hornets have people out. That is a fucking dreadful deal to look at. It's a great trade for the Suns. Okay, so that's what? Hold on. So that deal ended up being Josh Okogie and a second round pick. No, sorry. Nick Richards and a second for Okogie and 3 seconds. So it ends up being Nick Richards, Vasily Micic, Cody Martin, and some seconds for Yusuf Nurkic, Josh Okogie, and a first. That is just sliding turds around, man. That is just a sea of turds. Josh Gillum, I don't think you're understanding how that trade went through. Oh my god. Look, that's a solid deal for the Suns. Cody Martin is like another one of those 9th man type dudes that can be in the rotation. Micic isn't going to play. You weren't going to play Nurk at all, so now you don't have the Nurk contract. I assume they save fucking millions of dollars here. So that's Suns and Hornets. Nurkic for Cody Martin and Micic. Both guys have money next year. I don't know if it's a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, the Suns saved $2.2 million in just salaries, which is probably a preposterous amount of luxury tax payments. So, you know, it's just a little bit more cash back in Ishbia's pockets. And you get Cody Martin, I guess. That's not the one we were looking for, dudes. That is not the one we were looking for. Yuck. What do those contracts look like for Micic and Martin next year? So Micic is he's got an $8 million team option next year. I don't know if that gets picked up. Cody Martin has 8.7 fully non-guaranteed. Okay. Yeah, that looks a lot better for Phoenix. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't keep Micic, but having that non-guarantee on Cody Martin's helpful. Alex Short, that is not a salary dump. It does not mean big moves are coming. Neither of those two things are true. Now, the Hornets do have to, they got to pay Yusuf Nurkic, what, $18 million or something next year? Yeah, 19.3 for Nurk next year. So the Hornets ended up trading Nick Richards and Mark Williams. They got a 26 protected first. They got the 2031 unprotected first from the Lakers, the 2030 pick swap. It's not bad business. It's not bad business. What can Brooklyn get for Ben Simmons? Nothing. Should have kept Ayton. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Not so sure. Not so sure on that. Come on, give me another deal. The Nurkic deal. What a tease, man. We got the Nurk deal. Garbage. Garbage. Give me something else. What else you guys got for me here? We got 90 minutes to go. We're having fun. I know, I don't need this slow drip. Let me press the button. Get the juice in my bloodstream. Where's Durant going? Nowhere. There are deals in the middle column. Memory foam mattress, an over-the-door shoe hanging holder, a woman's hoodie, and a men's hoodie. Any Vooch rumors outside of Golden State? Nah. I don't think most people want to say that they're in the Vooch business. You don't want people to find out. PG still a Sixer by the end of the day? Yeah, probably. Jabari for Rui. No. Where do I think Duncan Robinson ends up? Miami? OKC making any moves? I fucking hope so. I hope so. OKC has $90 million to put themselves in the first position of winning the NBA title today. They got to do it. They got to do it. At least I hope they do. Manuel Hernandez, all the good stuff already happened. You might be right. You might be right. There's just so much little stuff to move around. Who are the Bucks packaging Portis and Pat Connaughton for? Probably nobody. Would be my guess. Celtics aren't doing anything. They would have to get a gift falling on their lap like Luka Doncic type shit. I would not be surprised to see the Suns trade KD and Booker this summer. Durant to Minnesota, no shot. Julius Randle for Michael Porter Jr., no shot. No, Embiid won't be moved. Look, when it comes to Sam Presti, you never hear them doing anything and then they just do it. So Middleton to OKC as this year's Gordon Hayward does make some sense. What move would make the Spurs better today if there is one? Anything they want to do. Yeah, Demetrius, it's not happening. You can let that one go. Yeah, Cam Thomas from Brooklyn, not going to be an OKC guy. That much I can tell you. If you're the Thunder, I don't know why you don't cash in some of these picks. You know that you need to get rid of some of them. Like, it just has to happen. That's the only thing that's going crazy to me. Is Cam Johnson really that big of an upgrade over someone like Case and Wallace? Well, he wouldn't be replacing Case and Wallace, but yes. Looks like no AD tonight. Looks like he's going to play tomorrow. Or sorry, Saturday. Trevor, there's only so many roster spots, man. They couldn't roster all these guys even if they wanted to. I mean, right now. If the draft happened right now, OKC would get the number 7 pick from Philly. They'd have 18 from Miami, 21 from the Clippers. Like, they can't even. They're not gonna draft 3 dudes. OKC got enough assets to get the number 1 pick. Yes. They won't. I don't think that it would be something they would do because that's not really the timeline. But yeah, if they wanted to, they could. What's stopping OKC from trading 4 firsts for a star right now? Themselves? OKC gonna waste SGA's prime. There's never been a basketball team better set up for the future than Oklahoma City right now. Never. No team has ever had this collection of young players and assets. They couldn't be better set up for SGA's prime. Trevor, not to mention, that's just this year. We also have for next year the two most favorable firsts between themselves, Houston, and the Clippers, and another second in 2026. They've got Denver's 27 first. They've got the Clippers 27 first. They've got Dallas's 28. They've got Denver's 29. Like they've got a billion picks. They got to cash them in somewhere. Alex, he's not tradable. Lauri Markkanen couldn't get traded no matter what happened today. Dude, if OKC traded 10 draft picks to get Cooper Flag, it would be hysterical. I have this feeling we're going to get one big ridiculous deal in the next hour that we're like, holy shit, how did this happen? I don't know why. It's just it's in my head now. I have no thoughts on Flag as an NBA prospect. Not something I pay attention to. I've never seen him play a single second. Jake, OKC has a 0% chance of the number 1 pick. 0. Zilch, nada, straight up 0. Absolutely zilch. Yeah, I think Cavs fans are going to get really disappointed that they don't get DeAndre Hunter, which is funny. I mean, OKC to me has just been like the natural Cam Johnson landing spot, but who knows? Jake, look harder. Look harder. News God, why? That's always a good try, Steven. News God, they have the same picks they had yesterday. Nurkic was already out of the rotation. They're playing Nick Richards, Mason Plumlee, and potentially Oso Ighodaro behind him. Literally nothing changed for the Suns by trading Nurkic. They already weren't playing him. No, Markkanen does not have a no trade clause. He signed his extension in the offseason. He is blocked from being traded until tomorrow, I think, actually. I think it expires tomorrow. But yeah, he can't be traded. Nobody giving a first for Cam Johnson. Well, that's wrong. As a Bucks fan, what the hell are our realistic options? You don't have any. Sir Manning, the Bucks made a trade. I don't know if we need to say big, but they did participate in a trade. I would agree about that. Brooklyn is in no rush to trade Cam Johnson. People want him. He's under contract. They can do whatever they need. They can make this a bidding war until 259. The Atlanta Hawks are trading DeAndre Hunter to the Cavaliers for Karis LeVert, George Niang, and 3 second-round picks along with 2 swaps. There we go. Hawks shipping off DeAndre Hunter to Cleveland for LeVert, Niang, 3 seconds, and what I assume are 2 second-round swaps? That can't be first-round swaps. That would be insane. So there you go, Cavs fans. Rich, where you at? Take a break from cranking it to DeAndre Hunter. I want to see what these swaps are first before I give a comment. Let me hit the head quick. All right, what the hell are these swaps? We do not know as of yet. Okay. John Daly, I would assume Wade will start over Hunter. But maybe not. I wish I had a piss bucket under the desk. That would be a lot easier. Solid pickup. You know, it's an upgrade over LeVert. Niang is meaningless. I like the consolidation of talent. I don't think it matters all that much. Let's load it in. And let's do it in terms of... Let's treat it like a playoff rotation. Let's see how big of a change we get here. So we take Niang out. And we take LeVert out. We add back in DeAndre Hunter. Okay. Kenny Wayne, this will not shift the title odds in any meaningful way. Mostly meaningless. All right, let's say 38 Mitchell, 36 Mobley, 34 Allen, 38 Garland, say 20 LeVert, 20 Wade, 28 Strus, 14 Okoro, 12 Niang, something like that. We would go 38, 36, 34, 38, 20, 14, 28, and then Niang goes. Let's get Hunter to 30. Add 2 to Merrill. Well, if we're judging this based off of dunks and threes, Dunks and threes has Karis LeVert as a better option then DeAndre Hunter. So technically speaking, just based on the quick minutes that I threw in here. Oh, sorry, guys. Based on the quick minutes I threw in here, Cleveland Cavaliers mild downgrade. Offense 0.3 of a point worse. Defense 0.7 of a point worse. Interesting. How does Darko feel about LeVert and Hunter? LeVert in Darko is positive 0.6, 0.2 offense, 0.3 defense. Hunter is negative 0.3, 0.9 offense, negative 1 defense. I don't know. You guys tell me. How old is Hunter? How old is LeVert? Let's take a look at their historical trajectory, too. So let's look at DeAndre Hunter, Karis LeVert, and we'll compare by season. I mean, they are basically on top of each other as similar plays. Yeah, LeVert's 3 years older. I mean, for pretty much his entire career, Karis LeVert has been better than DeAndre Hunter, except for a brief blip in the 21-22 season. I don't know. Interesting swap. Yeah. So, Steven, you make a really good point there, and I think that has more to do with this deal than anything else. LeVert was going to be up for... He's a free agent at the end of the year, so they would have had to pay him something, whereas now you have the cost certainty of DeAndre Hunter. Which I think makes a lot of sense. I don't know. Not much of a trade I care about. Kinda whatever. Let's see. Atlanta's taking on... Okay, this is a pretty big savings for Cleveland. How big of a savings? So Cleveland was... Okay, so Cleveland was 1.9 million over the tax. Which means they got themselves under the tax with this move. That's probably why they they paid a little bit more to do this. So that's DeAndre Hunter for LeVert and Niang. Yeah, I mean, the Cavs bring their salary cap number down by 3.4 million. That takes them out of the tax for this year. That's really where this value is going. So the reason that we see 3 seconds and 2 swaps attached to this is financial. Cleveland gets out of the tax. They basically swap comparable plays and add a bunch of draft pick assets for the ability to bring themselves out of the tax. Because it's a team that is going to be in the tax moving forward with their core. I like it a little bit more for Cleveland because of the financials. So that's kind of interesting. Atlanta is now in the tax because of this move, so I would expect the Hawks to go ahead and have another move in place to get out of the tax, which was probably going to be... Maybe they use one of those seconds to get off of Cody Zeller. I don't think they're going to want to get off of Buffkin. Nance probably makes too much. I could see this being the way that they get out of Cody Zeller here. Because they're going to do something to get back out of the tax. There's no reason they're going to pay it. So expect another Hawks move that is pretty not interesting. That seems likely. I think Cody Zeller would be the more likely team to just, or most likely guy to get absorbed. Yeah, that makes the most sense. I doubt they'd find a taker for Nance. Although, could, I guess. Chris G, can the Wolves trade Rudy for KD and other picks? No. I like that deal for Cleveland. Maybe not from a talent perspective, but from a finances perspective, that's a good move. They were able to basically swap like for like and get themselves out of the tax. That's not bad. Bucks need to make a move after the Cavs did. Good luck. The Suns are absolutely not going to be buying out Bradley Beal. At least not this year. And I also don't think that he could sign with the Lakers even if he did. We got to remember that, like, whatever you guys are reading in trade reports is meaningless and useless. Like 99% of the time. Your Eastern Conference Finals representative, Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, probably. I don't think they've got anything for Boston, unfortunately. Yeah, ESPN reporting things is not a real news outlet. If ESPN says something, I would probably go ahead and turn it off. Whether it's ESPN.com or the channel itself. Waiting on something new here. So far we've gotten Yusuf Nurkic and Karis LeVert trades. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Oh, killed my Gatorade now too. I'm out of liquids. Finished off my coffee, finished out my Gatorade. I did not plan accordingly. Trade deadline is in an hour and 5 minutes. There's basically no shot KD's going to Denver. Banquety says, don't sleep on the big PJ Tucker trade. Which one, man? Tucker's been on the move. He moved from LA to Miami to Toronto. He's been all over the place. He's been everywhere, man. Steven, no, he's not. Keith is in the crate right now. Wife's taking a nap. I'm on this show. He was screaming and yelling a little bit ago, but seems to have shut up now. We also need to wait on Miami news. They still have to make another move. I'm pretty sure they still need to get off of Kyle Anderson. So we need to see what that final deal is going to end up looking like. So, like, I do expect in the next hour that we're going to see a lot of minor moves. Like, bench guys getting moved, teams getting in and out of the tax. We're going to get a trickle of those things in. It's going to be gross. That'll be not fun. Ryan, they like grabbing second round picks for nothing. Are the Knicks, Nuggets, and Celtics staying put? Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything from the Knicks or Celtics. Nuggets would be a surprise. Joey, unquestionably. Who do you think did nothing and hurts them the most? Is it OKC? Yes. Majorly OKC. Richard, I don't think that's true. I think that got refuted after it came out. Mark, no. Boston's in the second apron, so buyout guys aren't going to the Celtics. Not those kind of buyout guys, at least. Jeremy, I couldn't disagree more. Oh, all for one for all. Yeah, I also wish that Luka trade happened right now. It would be, God, it would be insane. Ryan, yes, the Lakers are the biggest winners, but not because of Mark Williams. Willie, what do I see as Atlanta's greatest need? Better players? It unquestionably hurts OKC to stay put. They can upgrade their team at no cost to their team. Oklahoma City has 3 first-round draft picks that are not going to play for them next year. They need to do something. LA will not be in the NBA championship this year. Oh, S&P also true. I would still be trying to add somebody though. Like no matter what they do right now, they could also do it again in the summer. Don't leave these opportunities behind. Come on, give me another deal, boys and girls. All these people in chat thinking they know about trades and how teams build rosters, but can't even make a DFS lineup that cash. Oh, that's so good and so true. Who would the Thunder need? Anything they want. Anything they want. They've got too many future bodies and not enough places to put them. They're going to be trading them at some point in time. I think it should be right now. OKC should have grabbed Ingram. They got too many assets now because they don't want to pay Ingram the extension. That's the thing. The Cam Johnson contract just fits into their contract structure perfectly. They don't want to take on too much money in the future. How is Jeremy Grant still on the Blazers? Because he's not good. Come on, give me something. Give me something good. Something's got to be coming in. There's so many guys left to still be moved. Ooh, we got the Liverpool starters. Gakpo, Nunez, Salah, Soboslai, Jones, Grav, Robbo, Bradley, Kanate, Van Dijk, Tottenham. We gave you the false hope in the first leg. Coming for our business here. Do I think the Bulls make any more moves? They should, but they're the most incompetent franchise in basketball, so you never know. You never know. But, I mean, they should... There's absolutely no reason that Nikola Vucevic is on the Bulls in the next hour, and if I'm them, I'm trading even more than that. Pat J, you and me, I hope the Suns shock the NBA as well. Be a lot more fun. Be way more fun. I wish I could listen to music right now. That's the only bummer here. We'd get ripped down off of YouTube immediately. The Celtics just don't have any salary to trade. That's their problem. It's not like they're trading Derek White, Drew Holiday, Tatum, Brown, Horford, or KP, and after that, you're just out of it. Is Beal just going to sit there and hold on to his no trade clause? That's what I'd be doing if I made $50 million and nobody could do anything about it. Phoenix is nice. Dude, the amount of people that keep saying KD to the Timberwolves, like they're not Minnesota, that's interesting. You think KD is going to go to the Wolves? Guys, come on. Durant to OKC would break the internet right now. It'd be fun. It'd be so fun. We're on the home stretch. Final hour. KD to Dallas will not be happening. You guys all just open up NBA 2K and immediately turn off the salary cap, don't you? It's like, all right, how can I make all of these trades that don't make any sense? Bleep, bloop, bloop. All right, well, we turned it off, so now everybody works. Very true. Luka was traded. Anything is possible. Do the Clippers do anything? Probably not. They're in a really weird spot. I mean, if I'm the Clippers, I'm trying to cash in on Norm Powell, but I don't think they're going to do that. But they should. Ooh, Zach Lowe tweet about the Cavs trade. Solid trade for Cavs. Hunter fits what they need a little bit better than LeVert. Spot up shooting, size. Though LeVert is probably feistier on defense. Hunter playing more decisively this season. Niang's minutes were often limited already, and Hunter can play some power forward. Hunter's contract is fine. Gives Cleveland some cost certainty with LeVert heading to free agency. Cavs on track to be expensive either way. Atlanta clears the decks, gets some draft assets, and reunites Niang and Quinn Snyder just for fun. Shout out Zach Lowe. I miss that little dude. That's a hell of a trade for Cleveland to get comparable talent and under the tax, man. Good stuff. They didn't have a lot to trade. I don't think that move does a single thing, but good. Did the Cavs' odds to win the East go up at all? Nope, didn't move. Didn't move at all. As you would expect. As you would expect. How are we not getting more news? I think that we're going to get like a machine gun fire of trades in the next half hour. Whether they're good or not is different. But I think that's what's going to happen. Can the Hawks trade LeVert and someone else for Cam Johnson? That's not happening. What else we got coming in here? What else you guys want to talk about? Still got 55 minutes before I go watch Liverpool beat up on Tottenham. Ethan Bamba, no OKC moves yet. AT, both. Trevor Cheeks, Zach Lowe does not have a pod. That is not a true statement. Would the Nuggets make any moves? These last two MPJ games felt like a showcase. Well, the whole league knows how MPJ plays, so there's no such thing as a showcase. But if they thought they could make a move, they would make a move. Scott Yamano, can you recap the big moves for those of us that aren't watching minute by minute? There aren't any. DeAndre Hunter to the Cavs for Karis LeVert is the only thing that's happened that matters. I don't expect the Nuggets to do anything. Yeah, it would be tough for me to be a Tottenham fan, Patrick Lawrence. Who's going to make the move that matters? I don't see how Bobby Portis is on the Bucks in an hour. Completely expendable with Kuzma and Jericho Sims coming in. That is a hell of a sentence of basketball player names. Oh, Dennis, I'm staying until like 3:15. I think we got the Isaiah Thomas one a couple years ago, sometime after 3:00, and he ended up on two separate teams at the same time. Yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here until it's pretty clear the last deal has come in. Doesn't Lowe have a pod on awful announcing? No. Diaz scoring for Liverpool today. All right, that's 3 goals now. Will the Warriors make any more moves? Doubt it. Mr. C says, if I were OKC, I wouldn't make any moves. They can win it with what they have. Well, that's why you're not OKC. Any takers for LaMelo Ball? Probably a lot of them, but I don't think he's on the table. Josh, you're being really contrarian with this Oklahoma City talk. I don't think anybody else shares your opinion. Steve, I wish I had a beer to crack right now. I should go downstairs and see if I have one. I could definitely use a beer right about now. Jenna Sandy says Josh likes Liverpool because that's where the Beatles came from. I don't think I've ever listened to the Beatles on purpose. I have a smoke. Definitely going to need that one. When this is all said and done, I'm going to need a little bit of a nap before we take the puppy to puppy class. What the hell time is puppy class, actually? Josh does need a cigarette, but at the same time, I've had a Zin in the whole time, so we're getting there in different ways. Puppy class is at 6. Okay, plenty of time. Plenty of time. Smack the bing and come back? I'd be dead. Yeah, Josh, I'm seeing this one a little bit different. Do some mushrooms and enter a reality where trades are happening. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Wonder if we have any beers in the fridge. I don't think we do, and if we do, it's probably like a fucking pumpkin beer or something awful. Next year, edibles before the deadline. What year is it? 25. So the deadline will be Friday next year. 2 years from now, it'll be on a Saturday, right? Potentially. If it just was on the same day, I guess they can move it around. So who the fuck knows? John Daly, I wish I could, man. I wish I could. It'd be fun. I don't want to walk down to the fridge and find out I don't actually have beers. But a single beer right now would be delicious. All right, I'm going to look for a beer. If anything happens, let me know when I get back. Well, apparently there were no trades. And I didn't get a beer. But I did get a Topo Chico. So, tangy lemon lime. Trey, that's how she's in my phone. She's in my phone as wife. She's taking a nap. She wasn't on beers duty. That's all I had. This and 3 Oktoberfests. If there were whiskey here, whiskey might have been the answer, Michael. But unfortunately, there's not. I drank all of my brown liquors lately. Oh, Trey. I thought you were playing it differently because I call her wife. And that's it. So it was fitting. But yeah, that's how she's in my phone. Just wife. How are we not getting anything else? This sucks. Thoughts? Not in the AM, bro. Thoughts on him drinking 10 beers every night? It puts a lot of this in perspective. Scott, I wouldn't even notice. I don't have any of that shit in front of me, so I wouldn't even know if you guys did that. I can't believe how this is so blah. I thought we'd have a ton of micro moves. and we're just not getting micro moves. I mean, it's the best deadline ever because of the Luka trade. Josh, if I did that, I wouldn't be able to leave the house later. I didn't know Hulk Hogan had a beer. Does it call you a slur before you drink it? That would be probably pretty fitting for Hulkster. Brother. Yeah, it doesn't make the ka-ch. It just says some sort of racial slur. Oh, there we go. Rated Jeff. No, you start saying the slurs after you drink it. What if we're already saying those slurs before that, though? What happens? Is it offset? They got it written inside the cap like Lion's Head beers or Snapples? Oh, shit. Anthony Cortez, he's not playing today. Come on, give me something. Give me the Cam Johnson to OKC deal so I can be happy in life. It has to happen, right? We got 43 minutes to go. Anthony Davis, OKC, Jang and Joe to the Clips for Powell. So, like, that's the kind of thing that I would like, but I wouldn't do Joe in that scenario. But, like, for the Thunder. There we go. You got to get to 19-2. And you would want Jang to be one of those salaries if you could. Yeah, I guess it probably has to be Joe or Wiggins there. Yeah, I guess it probably would have to be Joe. Yeah, but like something like that, yeah. Like overpay for it. Doesn't affect your salaries, gets you a little bit more creation. That's the type of deal I like for OKC. I'm down for something like that. John Daly, yeah, there's a billion breweries here. Every corner. I feel like churches at this point. Again, I agree that OKC doesn't have to make a move, but why wouldn't you? You have too many future assets. They're not going to roster 3 first-round picks next year. That's just not going to happen. And Nikola Topic is going to be back. They have their first-round pick from this year that isn't even playing. They're going to consolidate him at some point in time. They're probably going to do it to trade up. Why not do it right now? I just don't. It makes too much sense. It makes way too much sense. Cam Johnson's at $22.5 million. Isaiah Joe out the door. Ousmane Dieng out the door. And somebody else. Whatever picks they want, basically. Just do it. Just do it. KD is very clearly not washed. Pour one out for Pete Nance. Just got waived by the Sixers. If KD's washed, you should stop watching basketball. That would probably get you further. But that's That just ain't it. What team has the worst cap situation and the least amount of assets right now? Milwaukee jumps out to me. I mean, Phoenix. It's Phoenix. What team chemistry? Why does anybody that the Thunder bring in have to be some fucking jerk off? Okay, we got one. Clippers are trading Terrence Mann and Bones Highland to the Atlanta Hawks for Bogdan Bogdanovic and 3 second-round picks. Let's take a look at that one here. We get the Atlanta Hawks and the LA Clippers. Terrence Mann and Bones Highland for Bogdan Bogdanovic. All right, so the Hawks, this is how the Hawks get out of the tax. So there we go. The Hawks save $1.6 million in this trade. That brings them back below the tax after the Karis LeVert DeAndre Hunter swap. I mean, I like that deal for the Hawks. That's fine. I mean, it's kind of like a totally meaningless trade. I mean, this is literally nothing. Literally nothing. Did the Clippers have room? Yeah, Clippers had $4 million under the tax, so they could take on that $1.6 million, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's we're just shuffling stuff here. I don't have anything to add on Terrence Mann and Bogdanovic swap. That trade reminds me of Semi-Pro when they acquire that one cat for a washing machine. That's good. That's good. Yeah, look, we knew Atlanta was going to make another deal to get back under the tax. Terrence Mann and Bones Highland for Bogdanovic was not what I was expecting, but we knew they were going to do something. The moment we saw that LeVert trade and we knew that they were back up over the tax, we knew they were going to do another deal. Solid deal for Atlanta. Not sure I see the point there for the Clippers, but honestly, they probably wanted those 3 second rounders more than anything else. Might as well trade Trey for pennies now. I mean, you can make a real case that Atlanta is just as good as they were 24 hours ago. And better because they have more assets now. Although it's probably like close to a wash in seconds. I think Atlanta is the exact same team they were before these deals happened. This will probably be Bones Highland's last contract. Is Atlanta going to get rid of Capella here? Be interesting to see. Atlanta's been making moves, man. Hot swapping players in and out of their rotation. Silent Assassin. Yes, they did reset their whole franchise. Big Luka Doncic guy right here. Can the Lakers get KCP? No. Yeah, it probably doesn't help that Bones is awful. Josh, were you the one on Hood Shafino at the start of the year? Yes, I was. Talk about the new Atlanta trade, bro. What are you doing? What's there to talk about? I think I pretty much hit the only details that matter in that trade. Which was, I read their names off. I can't imagine having anything more to say about Terrence Mann Bogdan Bogdanovic swap just to get Atlanta out of the luxury tax. Those are the highlights. David, come on. We're having fun. We're having fun. Why are the Grizzlies not making moves? Probably because they play in Memphis. I'm guessing that has a hell of a lot to do with it. Every time my screen refreshes, I think we're getting something new, and it's just like Bobby Marks telling me about Terrence Mann's contract. Turned on ESPN Deadline Show, and the first thing I heard was how the Cavs are getting Hunter on an expiring contract. Update, he's under contract until 26-27. That's why you don't watch ESPN, ladies and gents. And then you get stupid people like NBC Sportsbet. A drastic shift for the Warriors' odds to win the West from 25-1 to 12-1. Well, no, that's not really what it is. Makes it sound a lot worse than it is. They went from a 4% chance to a 7.5% chance or something. Come on. Drastic? Not drastic. A couple years ago, we got a ridiculous deadline. It's been pretty tame over these past few years, it feels like. How much better does Mark Williams make the Lakers? Not much. Like a little bit, but nothing crazy. 3 years from now, that could be a different conversation. In this particular moment, nothing crazy. I like him, but it's early. I mean, he's better than Jackson Hayes. I guess that's like he's stepping into a giant hole of Jackson Hayes. But I don't know. Fun to see what he becomes. Yes, Christian Wood is still on the Lakers. What are the odds we get a Draymond Jimmy fight in game? 0. I assume Draymond and Jimmy Butler get along. I read Lakers 4th best odds to win the West now. Is that true? I mean, maybe, but also no. Polymarket has them 2nd, basically tied with the Nuggets, but it's a public money situation. The Lakers are not the 3rd most likely team to win the West. But they're pretty damn good with Luka Doncic. Do I think the Spurs will make the play-in? I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't, as long as Fox and Wemby were healthy the whole time. You don't think Bogdan helps the Clippers? No. Yeah, and S&P, that rumor is basically not a rumor. Do we know when Luke is playing his first game as a Laker? Saturday, I think? Do I have the day right? I don't know. Soon. soon. I mean, if Dallas calls Milwaukee and says, "Would you trade Luka for Giannis?" Milwaukee immediately just says, "Well, is Luka going to re-sign in Milwaukee?" And then Luka's going to say, "Well, fucking no, it's Milwaukee." And then you just hang up the phone. Scott, I mean, I think that the Williams trade benefits the Lakers right now just because they needed a center because they traded Anthony Davis, but like he's average-ish right now. Like that's not I don't want to borrow from 4 years from now when he's 26 and established. Just like a third-year guy that's played like 50 games in his life. King wants to know if I broke down Luka and Davis. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks executed the greatest trade in the history of the NBA, and the Lakers executed the greatest trade in the history of the NBA. Dallas set their franchise back 15 years, something like that. I mean, Boston for Jason Tatum would have been a really interesting conversation for Luka. Countdown's on, guys. 28 minutes to go. He has been a top 5 DFS center for 2 weeks. That's probably relevant here. Will we see Trae Young move to Orlando? No. Tatum is overrated? No. S&P. I don't know how you do it. I really don't. That's so much deeper than just like Luka is better than Tatum. It sends a really weird message too. I'm not sure you could do it. Like, yes, on paper, if you're playing a video game, you do the trade and you don't even think twice. But that one's so much more complicated than just like moving two guys. Like, it's definitely on paper in Boston's best interest to do it. I just don't think you can. Now, if it were Jaylen Brown, then I think you start having the conversation. How are we not getting more deals? If I could trade people at Stochastic for other touts, who would I target? No one. I don't even know who other touts would be. I have never consumed any real content in this industry ever. Even before I was here. I don't know anything that happens in the industry otherwise. The most I've ever done of DFS content is when Danback had his like previous day recap pod up at RG in 2016. All for one for all. So we have the deeper dive at 5:30 tonight and live before lock at 6:30. I am not on either of those shows. Moving forward, I'm off on Thursday nights. I have we got to take the puppy to puppy class. Any chance Adam ever returns? I would doubt it. But I'd be cool with it. 25 minutes to go. There's going to be a trickle of deals, but man, oh man, are we not going to give a single shit about them. This feels like it's going to go out with a whimper. How many people work at Stochastic in total? I have no idea. Whatever you think it is, it's way more than that. Archithelza, Greg's back tonight. Ooh, Atlanta has to clear 2 roster spots. Who the fuck is that going to be? One of those is going to be Cody Zeller, but they're going to need to move somebody else too. They might just cut Bones Highland. Any chance that Jake and I reunite for a show? That's on Jake, man. I could see if I could drag him back into the baseball streets one day this year. Pat J, Adam went out on his own. How come Lofty stopped NBA? He didn't. He just is NFL only during the NFL season. "23 minutes to go, folks. We've gotten Bogdan Bogdanovic for Terrence Mann, Karis LeVert for DeAndre Hunter, and Yusuf Nurkic for Vasily Misic and Cody Martin. What a wet fart of a deadline. You couldn't pick more boring names to talk about than what we got for the past 2.5 hours. What are they doing in Charlotte? Full tank job? I mean, they were already tanking with the guys they had. Who's the guy from the last 2 drafts that has a shot at being an all-NBA player? Is there one? Amin Thompson, for sure. Who was the draft before Wemby? Oh my God. So the Wemby draft and the draft before that, Wemby, Paolo, Chet, Jalen Williams. That's probably it for that draft, right? Yeah. Yeah, from the previous draft, be Paolo, Chet, and Jalen Williams. From the Wemby draft, obviously Wemby. Probably Amin Thompson for right now. Jeremiah, they're going to mix it up every night. Depends on the matchup. Some days they'll have Chet at the 4, Hartenstein at the 5. I'm guessing some days they'll have Chet with no Hartenstein. I'm guessing some days they'll have Hartenstein without Chet. They'll move it around. Cody Zeller and a 2nd round pick to the Rockets. Well, that was always happening. They still need to move one more dude or cut somebody, but there you go. Yeah. Cody Zeller, a man that has not played a single second for the Hawks, just got traded to the Rockets. I think I've already said enough. What are the Rockets taking that into? Do they have a... Do they have a trade exception? They do. Okay, interesting. Larry Nance makes $11.2 million. The Rockets can take that in directly to their non-taxpayer MLE. That's why we only see a second round pick. Wouldn't be surprised if the Rockets buy him out. What does that do to the Rockets' tax situation? No chance they're doing this. I think that deal moves the Rockets into the tax. Because they were 6.5 below the tax before this. They're adding 11. I think the Rockets are going to make another move. Dennis Schroeder will end up with the Pistons coming out of the Jimmy Butler deal. I think Houston has to make another move here. Who would it be? They might offload Jeff Green here. He's got 1.6 million in likely incentives. He's on 8 million. I think Jeff Green or Jayshawn Tate might end up not on this team if they're just trying to get out of it. But based on what I'm seeing right now, this would move Houston into the luxury tax. There's no way they're doing that on purpose. Let's see if we get another Houston trade. Because that's weird. That's weird. Somebody's got to go from Houston right now. Because if they're taking on... Wait, do I have the wrong Cody Zeller contract number? Oh, Zeller's making 3.5. Ignore me. Ignore me. I looked at the total. I looked at the total on Zeller. Oh no, I looked at Nance. That's my problem. Ignore me on everything that I just said about Houston. It's 3.5 million. They had 5.5 to play with. I looked at the Nance contract and not the Zeller contract. That one's on me. Yeah, they're still 2 million under. So they're good. Ignore that. Houston's not going to make another deal. Well, they could make another deal, but it's not for tax purposes. Josh, could you GM the Hawks to a good team if they hired you is the question. I could GM any team in the league to be a good team if they hired me. How did Schroeder end up in Detroit? It's just how all those deals are getting moved around. Detroit had cap space, so they were always going to soak up something. Fuck, I thought I had one nailed there for Houston, but I'm just stupid. That's a shame. What would be the most shocking possible trade before the deadline? I mean, something from, like, Booker. Booker getting moved, probably. In terms of, like, things that could actually happen. How do I feel about the Butler deal? Indifference. They didn't really give up all that much. They're already old. Might as well lean into it. Yeah, well, it's not going to be Booker to the Bulls, news crasher. I can tell you that. Jamal Murray couldn't be traded, Travis, so that would be pretty shocking. I mean, yeah, we could just say Jokic. And then we say we name the best player in the league to get traded, but that's not really the point of this conversation. We might actually get nothing, and this sucks. 3 hours? And we get Yusuf Nurkic and all these other jerk-offs? This is awful. What a terrible show. By the way, I don't think I'm sticking around much past 3 o'clock at this rate. I'll say this. I'm out of here at 3 because it doesn't feel like we're getting anything trickling out. If something pops up that's interesting, I'll just go live again on Twitter from my couch. Because this does not feel like something's happening. This is just the most depressing trade deadline we could possibly have. Wookie, sorry, dog's in the crate. News crasher, Cone's gone. He doesn't need it anymore. We only needed it for like the first 2 nights. Yeah, Embiid will probably not get traded. King, 1 out of every 100 probably. That might even be aggressive. The Suns are wasting Grayson Allen. Matthew Silva, did you like grow up with him or something? No one has ever described Grayson Allen as getting wasted as a talent because he's Grayson Allen. That's one take. Oof. So if you guys were the fucking GMs for all these teams, the whole league would get bankrupt. What's my favorite trade so far? Luka. Unless you mean today, at which point there isn't one. Cleveland getting out of the tax? I don't know. I mean, if it's just today, it sucks. I love my wife. I thought there would be way more deals. I'm really disgusted in Oklahoma City right now. I think they are the biggest losers of the deadline. And I don't even think it's close. Unless you want to tell me it's Dallas, which I could understand. $11 minutes to go. The new All-Star Game format is awful. Not that I watched the All-Star Game to begin with, but I will extra special not be watching it now. New Orleans does not need a point guard because they stink. Trey Murphy will not be going to OKC, but that is absolutely what they should be trying to do. Dennis Schroeder to the Pistons is the only thing we've seen in 10 minutes. That's so sad. So sad. How are the Bulls not doing anything? Are these guys, do they like unplug their phones on the deadline? I don't get it. I don't get it. Who are the top 3 teams from each conference post deadline? Boston, Cleveland, New York in the East. I don't think that's even up for debate. Thunder. Fuck. Thunder, Nuggets, Grizzlies? I guess. Zane, the buyout market is way less interesting than it used to be. Do I see Toronto making a push for the playoffs? No, that's impossible. How the hell is nothing happening? 8 minutes left. KJ Martin, Josh Richardson, and a 2028 second round pick from Detroit to Utah. Cool. Cool. Where do I think the Lakers finish? I don't know. I don't know the standings. Fifth, probably. Fourth or fifth. Something like that. Manifesting Spurs a Kongwu for a pick at the buzzer. One, I don't know why in the world they would want to trade for a Kongwu when they have Victor Wembanyama. And two, that is 1,000,000% not happening. Derek Mullen trying to trade Karis LeVert even though he's not on Cleveland anymore. Interesting. A good path. I mean, Cleveland should definitely try trading guys that aren't on their basketball team. That's definitely a way to get better. If you could just trade other people, that would definitely be a good idea. So I like what you're thinking there. I think that makes a lot of sense. My filler arc with Super Chat. Brother, I just started watching any major trades or big stars. Also, not a Spurs fan, but I hope they wipe Liverpool today. Well, no, there were no big trades. There are no big stars moving. And Liverpool's going to beat the shit out of Tottenham today. We're going to get nothing. Oh, I would much rather belittle people in chat than spend time with my dog. That's not even a question. Undoubtedly belittle people in chat. I don't have a favorite NBA team. Still nothing. 6 minutes to go. Reggie Jackson got waived by the Wizards. I thought that was going to be a long-term pairing. Richard, I am a tired and beaten man. This has been a 3-hour stream of me talking, and I haven't been able to talk about a single thing that's interesting. Game Rock. Hawks are tanking. The Hawks are not tanking. Not only are they not tanking, they might not even have gotten worse. But they literally have nothing to tank for. They don't have their draft pick. Of all the teams in the league, Atlanta's tanking the least. But I think there's a very good case to be made that Atlanta didn't change their talent level. Michael Hins, potentially Hunter to the Cavs post-lock. Well, it's already happened. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that it continues to happen unless you're going to undo the trade. Bogdan not a starter no more. He was not a starter before this. Oh boy, here we go. Memphis Grizzlies are trading Marcus Smart and a 2025 first round pick in a multi-team trade to the Wizards. What is Memphis doing? Marcus Smart to the Wizards. Multiple teams. Now, let's take a look here. So this isn't a tax avoidance thing. Smart's on the books for next year at 21.5. They might just be using this ability to get off with Smart to re-up like Kennard and Aldama in the offseason, probably. I mean, their 2025 first doesn't matter. They get seconds back. Clippers are trading Kevin Porter Jr. to the Milwaukee Bucks for Marshawn Beauchamp. We don't have to talk about that one, obviously. I think hunting down whatever the fuck the Grizzlies are doing here. So why would they... I'm guessing this is simply just for salary next year. That's really all that makes sense to me. Wait, what kind of trade exception? 12.8. He makes way more than that, doesn't he? Makes 20.2. Who's the contract? The Wizards didn't have $20 million in space, right? How is that Grizzlies trade a real trade? I'm very confused by this deal. That can't be the end of that trade. Somebody's got to be leaving Washington. Who makes enough? Oh, that could be Brogdon. I think we're going to end up seeing Malcolm Brogdon in that deal. Because Brogdon makes 22.5. Can you swap Smart for Brogdon? Is that legal? It is. I think we're going to see Malcolm Brogdon pop up in that deal. Whether or not he's going to Memphis or not is a different question. But they don't have 20 million and they don't have a trade exception to take him into. Jake LaRavia heading to the Kings. Okay, so LaRavia is a part of it, but we need more than that. So LaRavia is another 3.5. Malcolm Brogdon's going somewhere, I think. Oh, yeah, Ben Bradley. That's a great point. Could be Middleton as well. Something else is coming from this deal, for sure. Has to. Because the Wizards don't have the ability to make that deal happen any other way. LaRavia was a free agent, right? They were going to have to re-up him. Yeah, Jake LaRavia was never staying. Actually, did they? I think they might have declined his option. Let me make sure I'm not crazy here. But if you just try getting Marcus Smart to the Wizards, yeah, I think this almost has to be Brogdon, which is weird to me for it not being out yet. But we're definitely missing the Wizards piece. And we're at 3:00, so whatever trickles out, trickles out. Let me get the Liverpool matchup on my phone. What the hell is that streaming on? Paramount Plus? I hate that I'm going to have my fucking Twitter open and it's going to spoil me for goals. Paramount Plus. Got it. How much does Jordan Poole make? I like that. B. Oswald, I don't think that Memphis is actually up to anything. I think that this is just a salary move for next year. Pacers are trading James Wiseman to Toronto. Ooh, okay. Kings are setting a 2028 second to Memphis, along with Colby Jones and Alex Len to Washington. So we still haven't gotten the piece of Washington that's leaving. And now we're starting to get up higher in salary. I think we're starting to get it to a point where it might actually be Middleton. We might be getting Middleton to Memphis? Is that what's happening here? Let's see if we can piece this together before it pops up. Colby Jones and Alex Len. So let's get Sacramento added to this. So we get Colby Jones to the Wizards, Alex Len to the Wizards, Laravia to the Kings. That's 24.5 million incoming to the Wizards. If I trade Chris Middleton to the Grizzlies, how far off are we? 8 million would need to come out of the Grizzlies. So maybe it is still Brogdon. If I make that Brogdon to the Grizzlies and bring Middleton back, does that work? Okay, it does work with Brogdon. I think we're going to get Malcolm Brogdon going to probably Memphis here. Unless we get another name that adds enough salary for Memphis to take back Middleton, which I don't think they're going to do. If it's not him and it is Middleton, we would need to get like 8 million. I guess it could be Kennard. They would get hard capped. Yeah, I think this is going to be Brogdon. We'll see. We shall see. KPJ and Marshawn Beauchamp is a useless trade. The James Wiseman trade, obviously useless as well. But yeah, for that trade to happen, something else has to be going out. Brogdon's got the expiring next year. That would make a lot of sense for Memphis because their books are going to start getting pretty tight. How has this not come out yet? It's like the most obvious thing in the world to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah, it appears The Bulls did nothing. Oklahoma City did nothing. Memphis appears to have done nothing of value. Houston has done nothing. What a boring NBA trade deadline. I think a lot of teams are going to regret this deadline. Well, my expectation is that we're going to find out that Malcolm Brogdon is being traded from the Wizards. I don't think it matters. Smart was obviously not playing. Brogdon will probably not play just as much as Smart doesn't play. I think that's all about just freeing up money for next year. I think that's really all it is. You got to pay Kennard in the offseason, potentially. You got to pay Santi Aldama in the offseason. You had... Oh, yeah, they declined Laravia's option. So you get off of the Laravia deal that you were never going to play, and then you swap out next year's salary of Marcus Smart for an expiring Malcolm Brogdon. There's John Hollinger. No news yet, but Brogdon to Memphis would be the contract that fits in all of this. Who called that immediately? John Hollinger, what? What? I'm right here, brother. Should have hired me in Memphis. All over it. All over it. We finally get a deal that I can break down, nail it, absolutely nail it. Doesn't even matter. Oh, oh. Well, I don't know why Underdog is updating that trade summary, even though it's not done. But yeah, expect Malcolm Brogdon. Johnny Myers, I hope he is. I hope he is watching. I'm a big John Hollinger fan. Clippers gutted their depth. Are they giving up? How did they gut their depth? What did they gut? They swapped Terrence Mann for Bogdan Bogdanovic. If KPJ is the depth we're talking about, I think they're going to be okay. Also, KPJ gets a little bit more redundant having Bogdan Bogdanovic. Ooh, Bobby Marks hit the detail that I didn't see. This is the big one. By trading Marcus Smart and his $21.6 million salary for next season, Memphis could have the flexibility to renegotiate and extend Jaren Jackson. That is why this deal is happening. I talked about it earlier. I didn't think about it when I got to this point, but I talked about it earlier that Jaren Jackson Jr. was unable to extend with Memphis as they were currently set up. If they can get into the cap space derby, now they could renegotiate and extend Triple J next year. That is why that's happening. And yeah, Nate Duncan just said it, but it's so true. Boston's decision to move Smart is an all-time great move. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, well, that, my friends, is going to do it. You guys will see Malcolm Brogdon get moved in some way in the next couple minutes. Just remember who said it first. Me. This guy. It was fun. It was fun. I'm going to go watch Liverpool beat up on beat up on Tottenham. My brain is broken now. Enjoy your night, everybody. Have fun in the DFS streets. I will not be in them. But thanks for being here. Thanks for putting up with me for 3 hours. This is my favorite thing to do every year. I'm sad that it's over. I can't wait till next year. But there is absolutely nothing I want to do more than talk trade deadline. So I appreciate you guys being here for it. And I appreciate you guys humoring me while I talk about the thing that I love the most, which is the transactional side of the NBA. So thank you guys for being here. I love you guys a ton.